Greetings, everyone, and welcome to what I guess is my first news reaction for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So, today we had a new announcement for Territory Wars. This is the first big announcement of 2019, and that is kind of something everyone was suspecting, sort of, that Grand Arena is turning into such a large success that they're going to be focusing more on that, and it kind of defeats the purpose of Territory Wars. So, they're going to shake things up a little bit and introduce a bunch of new versions. There was, in the last month, November, where we had Territory Wars, they gave Clone Wars buffs to 4 characters. I believe it was Cup, Windu, Grievous, and I think Dooku. And they gave them just, like, ridiculously powerful. Like, Cup was viable, Grievous was almost good, Mace Windu would one-shot Jango Fett. Really had it out for anyone who had Jango Fett early. And yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. Got to use Mace Windu for the first time in forever. I think I used Grievous. I don't remember. I don't participate very much in Territory Wars because I had a really thin roster. And now I'm actually doing this video less as a reaction to the post itself and more a reaction to the reactions, because I'm realizing that as a player in my position, a mid-tier player, I'm having a very different reaction to this than the top-tier players are. And I think it quite simply comes down to the fact that, you know what, I have a thin roster. I didn't inflate, I'm not farming teams for Territory Wars. My guild, for God's sakes, my guild had a 13-war losing streak last year on Wars. My guild doesn't like Territory Wars. It's simple as that. Sometimes we win, most of the time we don't. So, I have a very strongly different opinion on it. So we need to go over, what the hell is that? We need to go over what's so big about this post. Well, they're going to be introducing new types, and this is going to be my first counter-argument to a lot of people's hate of, oh, they're ruining Territory Wars. Just the next, not all of them, they're going to be doing this. It's a reverse draft, basically. If you're familiar with any MOBA or main competitive games, you will usually draft ban certain characters from the rosters to prevent usually someone who's really good at it from using it. In this case, it's kind of a reverse. Instead, we're going to be voting top 6 groups out of 10, and then the devs are going to be doing a top 3 of 4. So, or no, they're doing a proper ban. So, anyone not on this list will be immediately up for use. So, for example, Grievous is good. I think he's not down in the dev one, right? Yeah, no. So, for example, Grievous is good. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Rework Grievous. Yeah. So, he's out. Basically, non-meta characters or fill in the blankers. And I take that back. Actually, most plug and plays are in this list. But point is, most rosters are out. Just actually, it would be fair to say that if a character doesn't have a Zeta, they're not on this list. Although First Order Officer, I don't think has a Zeta. I could go check. I do have blue stacks going in the background. But point is, we're drafting. And you can bet that the community is divided because of who's up in the draft. Right here, right now, Jedi Knight Revan is able to be eliminated from a territory war. And so are all the heroes' journeys and legendary characters, except for C-3PO. That is the one I am kind of annoyed. He's not down here, right? Yeah. 3PO is fair game, and that actually ticks me off because he would have been my number 2 elimination. My number 1 elimination, and this is coming again from a mid-tier player who is not a whale. I wanted Revan out. I didn't even want to think about it. I bet you most of my guild will be thinking along those lines. We don't have Revan. We don't want to fight him. I've had to fight Revans in Grand Arena now because of a very, very well-targeted whale, I guess. I don't know how exactly that still happened. But, yeah, Grand Arena versus a Revan. It felt absolutely terrible. I had 0 counters for him. My best teams didn't stand a chance. You needed 2 legend to counter Revan, basically. You need either Revan himself, in which case, welcome to a terrible looking battle from all the videos I've seen, or you need Chewbacca and 3PO, or at least Chewbacca, to give the Rebels a chance to counter him. Darkseid doesn't stand a chance. Traya is out of the meta now. Also, ironically, I did vote to get rid of Traya, but that was mostly because I wasn't going to use the other three anyways. But yeah, I guarantee you Revan's not happening because the community is pissed. And I get it, and I am for it. I literally was like, woo, I get to ban Revan. I don't have to deal with Revan. And a lot of people are mad because they put the money on Revan. You know what? You are the minority of the player base, and the rest of us are kind of sick of getting shafted. An inadvertent shafting I've been feeling since Revan is the Traya teams who couldn't get Revan in my shard have all been knocked into the top 100 on Arena. It's all Revan and now Resistance or Rebels with 3PO. Basically, the last two legendaries and the last Hero's Journey character knocked out a large chunk of my Arena team, which has made it nigh impossible for me to really close the gap. I made it to the top, to the 110s today, and I consider that really good progress just because I got stupid lucky and found some Night Sister teams I could pick on. I barely win mirror matches. I can't beat Traya teams. And right now, the area I'm hovering in is mostly Traya teams, the old meta. So the old meta got shuffled down, making people who didn't have it even more at a disadvantage, because I don't have Revan. I can't beat these guys. So yeah, I'm kind of salty against Revan owners, especially for the sheer high amount in my Arena shard. Treya's hard to get. Not as hard as Revan. She's not behind a paywall. You cannot buy Revan. You cannot buy Traya. You can buy Revan. Anyone who has Darth Traya worked hard to earn her. Like, the best whales could do is there were a couple points where, say, like, Night Sisters were available in packs for other reasons. Like, that's the best. You couldn't just whale out and get Traya. You had to earn your spot in a Sith raid guild. It's hard. I respected Traya a lot more than I respect the Revan. Still voted to get rid of her. In fact, I'm trying to remember my final vote. I think I voted out Revan, Jedi Training Rey, Traya, and the General Kenobi team, just because at that point I had basically, like, I had a pick 5, which was my meta, which is Palps, Palp, Vader, Scion, Nihilus, Thrawn. So those 5 were all separate, so those were 5 is like, okay, I need my meta team, I'm voting for that. Pretty much holds a Jedi team intact too, as long as it's not Jedi Revan, although I am concerned because Bastila is way down here, and she is with Wampa and Resistance Trooper and TIE Fighter Pilot. So the bottom 2, not so strong, but Bastila and Wampa are both very powerful characters. Also, Boba Fett and Hermit Yoda and First Order Executioner, all key for their components. Ezra, very potent for for most Jedi teams. Dooku and Sith Trooper, good with the Traya teams. Kylo Ren, critical for a First Order team, and then First Order Stormtrooper, Enfys, plug and play. Han Solo, critical for Rebels teams. So if I had to bet between the two of them, it's going to be Group 1 or Group 4 that gets eliminated, and my gut tells me Group 4 is out. So by having Scion and Hoda and regular Yoda together, at least I'm going for that. But yeah, if I remember right, I knocked out, it was Bam, 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 and I think Bam, just because this one I felt was like, okay, this is going to hurt me the least because, I'm like 90% sure Bastila is out anyway, so if I don't have General Kenobi, no big deal. That way I still have Hoda, who I can plug and play with almost anybody. More importantly, I've got Thrawn, the ultimate plug and play, yada, yada, yada. Basically, I haven't had a territory war in a while, so I've actually got 2 new squads that are viable this time, my Bounty Hunters and my Night Sisters, but they still, it's like they're still not the best squads for it, and I don't focus on that stuff. And yeah, I've said before, my guild doesn't like it. So I'm trying to get at is this event is not for the high tier players. This is not for them. This is for the teams who are missing people. Okay, this is a chance for the guilds that don't have metas, that don't focus on territory wars, to punch a giant hole in the meta and give themselves a chance. Obviously, it comes with a little bit of self-sacrifice. Again, I'm risking my Jedi teams. I will not have a Bounty Hunter team based on that. So, what else? And if Saj doesn't happen, then boom, my Night Sisters are out too. Like, I could live. Yeah, the groups I knocked out didn't have any Night Sisters, so. Except for Asajj. So, if that. And of all the groups I knocked out, I feel like that's the least likely. Thrawn is so universal, I feel like that's safe, and that also saves Phoenix. And the Rebel team, since Han and Ben are common roster picks. A little weird seeing Range Trooper on there, but I keep hearing people talk about him, so I gotta figure him out later. But yeah, this is not for the top tier players, okay? This is I think the devs trying to throw a bone to people who don't have really hard to get characters. Again, I knocked out the 3 mythic / raid characters I don't have. I knocked them out because I don't want to fight them. Usually they're their own counter, and I guess. And for Revan, there's the whole counter to the paywall thing. Like, again, I guarantee you will not be seeing Dengar, HK, Colonel Stark, or Revan at all in this one. I put my last Zeta on Dengar, and I still chose to bench him to bench Revan. I'm angry about Revan, okay? And a lot of players are angry about Revan, and I am acting on that anger. And to all the people saying, oh my god, this is going to ruin territory wars, this is an experiment. This is the next, not forever, the next territory war. Only the next one. If this turns out to be a huge disaster, guess what? Never happening again. Also, it looks like they're going to be shifting rewards away from territory wars, since Grand Arena is now going to be their more competitive thing, and I like that better, honestly. It's definitely more fair. It's like, oh, hey, my guild doesn't have a whole bunch of GP because, we're not whales and stuff. So we don't inflate and just max out every character we get. Hey, we can't get the max rewards even though we won. It's like, it doesn't feel that good. And there have been some complaints from people about, oh, why are they focusing on territory wars when other game modes need more attention? Like, for example, territory war or battles haven't been touched in a while, and they've got plenty of problems. I bet that's coming later. Territory wars is just something that's easier to work on. Again, they showed by just adding some zone buffs, they completely reworked the meta on it. So this time they're adding bans, which is something I actually don't mind. Like, I'm okay with, hey, we're not allowing this team. Is there a chance that my main team won't be allowed? Hell yeah! I can't imagine how many people hate Scion and Nihilus that don't have them. Again, I'm a mid-tier player. There's still a whole group below me that doesn't have access to any of these guys, so who knows where their hatred really is. Revan's the only one I'm guaranteeing, because almost everyone who's not that top, 5-10% of player base who has Revan, they are going to want some payback and some blood. But I don't think this is ruining territory wars. I think we're going in a different direction. The devs are trying to throw a bone to those who got screwed over by the paywall. And I do like the idea of having bans. Honestly, I kind of want to see some... Like, if I'm looking forward to the future, I should end on a positive note. Other ideas, because like they said, they've got many new types. This is just one type. And if I had to speculate, what would be some interesting ones? One option would be to turn off leadership abilities. That would definitely mix things up a little bit, because suddenly, you'd have to basically rethink your entire strategy, and then non-leadership synergy abilities would become even more critical. Like, for example, I think one of the best examples would be the Night Sisters would still be the Night Sister team under that limit, because of just the sheer synergy between people like Daka, Ventress, Zombie, and Talzane. Then you basically just get to plug and play whoever you want for the last one. Like the synergy like that. Like Han and Chewie, they can then be plugged in. Enfy's Nest will be even more powerful except versus Revan. Revan will still work well with Jedi because all of his abilities power up Jedi. 3PO will still be just as broken and powerful because he doesn't have a leadership ability. You get my point. Like, there's an option. Ships in front would certainly mix things up a little bit. Normally, like, I can at least say this for my guild, like, maybe 5 of us throw out our good ships. The rest of us are hoping, praying that if we get to go versus their one, that our defensive line holds, and two, if we get into their ship thing, we know how good that kind of point is, so we all save our good offense ships. Hell, I don't even get to place a ship half the time. And I know my roster has improved significantly since then, since I started getting serious again. But yeah, so that could be another option. Threes, hey, you know, it kind of worked in Grand Arena. Don't require as many. Keep the number down. Like, you know, threes could be an option. Again, just more random buffs, power up the characters. Valentine's Day is coming, so I don't know, if you've got a secret gender tag on things, you could have it like, you know, boys versus girls kind of event. Bench the droids or monsters. Sorry, Wampa. You know, there's an idea. Again, just change the location away from Jakku, please. Pretty please. You know, something, just something like that. Those are ideas. I am interested to see what else they have. This one, you know, there's been some gripe. Okay, so this one doesn't even roll out. Today, you can see in the corner is the 2nd of January in the evening. Technically the 3rd in my game because daylight savings, but yeah, so 10 more days, then this territory war begins. Honestly, I just want another Grand Arena in between then. I'm actually having a really, really good time. I am in, actually, let me bring it up. I am in my closest matchup now. So my first one was massive disappointment because he didn't do anything. So massive disappointment. And then the next one was what I felt was a pretty good battle, although it doesn't look it during, you know, this. But his teams put up really good fights. Like, I beat most of them on the first go, but that was not like casualty-free sweeps. That was like, okay, I had, where's a good example? His Night Sister, no, wait, I used my Night Sister, bad team. But yeah, this, okay, I can't pull up the exact battle stats, but basically, most of these, I walked away with 3-ish characters, 2 in one extreme case. And then the ships wasn't really fair, because I saved my better ships. But the dude tried. Like, he actually went after my fleet twice. And just, I'm not quite sure how, but I guess he just ran out of ships at that point. So my point is, like, it was a good fight. It, again, doesn't look like a good fight at the end, but I had to dig deep on my roster. And now I'm up against Darvin. He has changed his appearance. We're fighting over first place. I look at his roster. We're about the same in arena. We're running almost the same team. He's got a few more, what do you call it than I do? A few more Gear 12s. I've got a couple more Zetas, I think. So, it honestly, like, right now feels good, because I feel like this is a pretty even match. So am I happy they're shifting focus more to Grand Arena? Yes. Territory Wars wasn't fun because again, just to reiterate, liking Grand Arena, happy they're putting resources towards it. Did not enjoy Territory Wars, was obligated by Guild to participate, but did not enjoy because I did not have a roster designed around it. I designed my stuff around acquiring other characters. I viewed Territory Wars as an annoyance. Literally, an annoyance. So, I'm happy they're fixing it. I get others, you know, and then this is temporary. Draft pick may never return. Could be disastrously unpopular. Who knows? And then other stuff, it's day 2 of the year. I'm sure they've got more plans. So, there is my opinion on this change and what I hope to see from it. Yeah. Farewell.